Okay, you guys, episode 9. We're nearing the end of season 1.
Yes.
We have some really great guests today. Raven stole one of my partners for her guest, but I guess she thought I stole one of her partners.
You stole one of my partners, therefore I stole one of yours.
They're fighting over Paige.
I think
you were like, I got Paige Roberts. And I was like, no.
But that's creative too, in so many ways.
And I got George.
Well, what really is happening here is that we're doing our job correctly because we are merging our genres together.
Genres.
You know?
Yeah.
This city is half creative, half government, and we are finally merging. Like these are who we
creative, really.
This is who we literally work with every day. Not just me with creatives. You do too.
I know I do.
So you and George
call George all the time.
You stole my partner because now you do events for the city, which is a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing to have our employees, bringing more to the table than what our job titles.
All other duties assigned.
That's right.
That's a great job, number 10.
And as a word nerd, I'm hung up on the plural of genre. I'm pretty sure there's no S.
Whatever.
We're being creative here, Paige.
Yeah, we're not politically correct.
Make your own words up.
This is a podcast.
Like deer.
One deer, 3 deer. It's all deer.
It's
and
all
I think
deer.
that's the same. 1 genre, 3
This
genre.
is not a Board of Aldermen meeting. This is a podcast, okay?
No, but this is my head.
Okay, with that, my guest today is Paige Roberts. She is the executive director of the Jackson County Chamber. I think that she is going to have some really funny stories to tell us today. I can't wait to dive in, but I want you to also introduce your guest today, and then we'll get going.
Is it weird that our guests aren't sitting next to us?
No, we switched it one time before. I like it. It kind of helps the dynamic. It helps them talk better, too.
My guest is George Cumbest, who is the director of the Mississippi Songwriters Alliance and oversees the Songwriters Festival that's here in Ocean Springs.
Yes,
Welcome.
ma'am.
Yay. I call George all the time.
I know.
I just met George.
Really? Yeah. He's a great contact to have.
We ran across each other a couple of times, and then we finally had a meeting, and then the next day I'm seeing you tomorrow, too.
Nice.
So I've aggravated her about 5 times because she knows everybody in the state. I'm like, oh,
yes.
I need help. I need help.
Good resources at this table.
Which is funny for a girl from Indiana.
Hey.
But I have spent 30 years here, so.
Yes.
I'll be with Tricia tomorrow, actually, with Walker. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, Paige, can you tell us, what do you do exactly? Because I have a feeling it's a really big job. Everyone at this table has a really big job, and we want to hear what you think you do.
what you're supposed to be doing.
Well, I think the best description of what I do is connect resources. And resources are basically money, manpower, and materials for anything that you're trying to do. And I connect them. And that's how we get problems solved, or at least how we try.
Yeah.
And that's how we accomplish or work to accomplish the mission at the Jackson County Chamber of Commerce, which is to support commerce and promote growth in order to enhance quality of life across Jackson County.
And what does that look like? Is it building relationships with people? Is it doing research most of the time? How do you stay informed to cover a county?
So the answer to almost any question, in my opinion, is D, all of the above.
Yes,
for sure.
I've been answering that way lately too.
Yes, so D, all of the above. As George mentioned, we've come across each other several times. So I came here 30 years ago with WLOX out of journalism school. I came down here to work at the television station. And when you come to a community as a reporter, you very quickly figure out how the community's put together and how everything is connected. So even after I left the television station, every job I've had since has led me to meet more people and connect more parts of the community. Okay. So it's building relationships, but also utilizing the ones I have to their highest and best purpose.
Yeah.
Everything
lots of lunches.
Just makes so much more sense
Coffee.
now.
Right. I eat a lot.
You speak so well when you give speeches. I've been wondering why. Okay, you're a reporter. Also, yeah, everything that you're doing, the skills that you're learning and the experiences you're having are leading up to something bigger. And now you're doing something bigger with your skill sets. Not that reporting's not big, but you're finding resources and helping situations instead of just reporting them. That's
right. But I will tell you, I was born this way.
Okay, Lady Gaga.
I may start
She
singing.
connects the
I
dots.
was born this way.
We tried that in the mic one episode. It did not go very well.
Yeah, so when I was in the 8th grade, actually, someone suggested to me, what do you think? Maybe I think you should be a television news reporter. And I've been doing public speaking, actually, since I was 11. And so that is, I've had a lot of training and experience, but you are so right about it is my skills from being a television news reporter that have transferred so beautifully to running the Red Cross, teaching journalism, creating and running Pathways to Possibilities, the Career Expo for 8th graders, and now what I do at the Chamber of Commerce. But I want to tell you a quick story that illustrates this, I think, very poignantly, and that is when Hurricane Katrina hit, I was the executive director of the Southeast Mississippi chapter of the American Red Cross. So I was over Jackson and George counties. My sons, I had 2 at the time. They were 4 and 7 months old. And I was stationed in the Emergency Operations Center that's in downtown Pascagoula. And when that storm finished, the winds died down enough for us to get back out. We had to evacuate to the courthouse because the roof was coming off the EOC. We were faced with, okay, we have all of these people that need immediate shelter and are stunned and walking around dazed and wet and, still responders pulling people out of water and all of that. And it occurred to me within the first, I'd say, 72 hours after Hurricane Katrina hit, that every single experience I had had in my life, whether it was through a job or training or a relationship, was designed to prepare me for those moments.
Survival mode.
To be in that position. Because, like you said, with the relationships, we had to find a building that was still standing and able to hold people as an emergency shelter, because all the normal go-tos were either blown down or flooded. And I ran into the football coach who at Pascagoula High School had been there when I had been teaching a couple years earlier, and he just gave me the key to the high school. So, I mean, so it was one thing after another in that experience of first the response to the hurricane and then the recovery. So we're talking a matter of years that I realized that everything, and I was 35. I say I was 35 when I went into Hurricane Katrina. I was like 55 Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah, I bet.
That's an amazing. See, I told you she was going to bring some stories.
I didn't doubt it.
Sorry, I don't know why I'm getting aggressive.
I know, you're so aggressive. That's why she's sitting next to me. George.
It's safer over here.
It gets excitable once you put these on.
So, George, tell us about what you do.
Okay. About like that, 10 different things. The number 10,
world.
anything that needs to be done, from cleaning the toilet to doing staging to booking shows. With the songwriters, we started about 14 years ago, 2010 or 10 got started. It kept growing and growing. So a lot of things I do is try to set the path of where we're heading. A lot like she's talked about, to build the relationships outside of our area. Tomorrow we have a meeting up in Cleveland with the Grammy Museum. So we'll be partnering with them. We're working with the Max Museum. A lot of relationships.
Yeah.
At this point, I was involved with trying to help set up the operations along with Scott. Everybody now have kind of backed up and said, okay, what's our next step?
Right.
Trying to be the bigger picture person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
try to go out, get the funding.
Funding.
Get the relationship with the legislators for the Hall of Fame build and develop that side of things, and trying to connect the dots across the state right now. And a lot of my time spent there now. We're in Cleveland. We're going to be in Meridian next year. We're looking at Oxford and somewhere around Jackson, where we're getting all the tourism, the 5 tourism spots. So hopefully in a couple of years we'll have a spot all across the state for a 2-day festival to have
That's
our
a
main one here.
lot.
That's a
So
lot.
how did this alliance start? So y'all were sitting in a room and y'all were like, let's create an
Well,
organization.
I've played music my whole life.
Don't you like Colts?
Let's get some people.
Who can we talk into doing a lot of work for free?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, don't not answer Ravens, but like at the same time, like how do you make sure the quality of all that you're trying to accomplish is gonna be there? You know?
Getting the right people and finding the right people. People management and people's hearts and things. It's like me and you was talking earlier. If you got the right people that's passionate, you ain't got to manage or do much. So just do it.
I like George quotes. You know, he uses ain't, and it's like I don't know. I feel it in my soul.
Like a blues singer.
Exactly.
That's that Southern Mississippi flair.
That's right.
We'll keep it real. But no, it got started. I used to go to Frank Brown a lot, and I'd always played music. And I was down there. My current wife, we were on a date, I think the second date, and I'm like, we need to do one of these in Mississippi. And she's looking at me like I was crazy. And so I started talking to some of the writers and ran across Tommy Barnes, which is, y'all met him. He's been here. He was the first real live songwriter that I met that made a living. He had doing it. He had wrote Indian Outlaw for Tim McGraw and a bunch of other country genres. And so we got him up, and it just kept coming. Met Scott and Dan, and things just kept growing and still growing.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff.
I'll never forget the first time I met you guys. Y'all came to my studio asking for us to make the awards for your
Still
main
use them.
ceremony.
Beautiful, yeah.
Thank you.
You met Dan, I think.
And that's
Dan
how Dan and I met,
Dan found you,
and that kind of gave me an insight into who y'all were individually, because he invited me out to his studio, and you know it's out in the woods in the middle of nowhere,
yeah.
and he's like showing me his gardens and his animals and
His
his collections, and so
solar panels too. Like if
Yeah.
it gets bad, I'm going to Dan's house.
But that's how you all are. All of you have your own studio. You're all musicians or writers or something, and so you all have your own passion to put towards an alliance.
and we come together collectively because we're better together. You know,
Right.
we can get more done as a group versus everybody out there trying to climb the ladder by ourselves.
Because your board has to turn into a president and a treasurer and someone who's scheduling and dealing with the artists.
lot of moving parts.
Yeah, and then the artists, they come in with, what is that list that they come in, the list of demands?
Yeah, those riders.
Those
The
riders.
Riders.
Okay.
Green M&Ms.
Yes, let's talk about the craziest writers y'all have ever had.
Oh, some of it I can't say on here. Let me think of the cleanest version.
I used to, when Gulfport had Gulfport Music Fest and CPR Fest down in Jones Park, I was, after college, was an intern for the radio station that was doing it. So it was my job to fulfill those riders. Like, I mean, spending thousands all day in Walmart, like getting all these different kinds of waters.
Fulfilling
like,
requests.
Yes.
Or
the
demands,
M&Ms. Yep,
however you wanna
demands.
frame it.
And it's like,
Some way, some demand, some request. It's kind of mixed.
And then, and then I have to put it all nice and neat in these little trailers. And then they would come in for like 10 minutes, all their people, and then half that stuff will still be sitting there. All the waters and stuff.
So then you get it.
I did.
Good win.
I'd come home with water. Here, Mom.
I love it. That's beautiful, though, that you have experience in that world to connect with someone like George, even though you work in City Hall with the mayor and board of aldermen daily.
It's got a wide spectrum.
With the new event that you have every
Friday at the Fort.
every final Friday
That's
of
right.
the month for a season.
Yep.
You and George connect, and he helps you find bands. He helps you understand what the heck's going on with tech.
He's the reason why we have all that sound equipment. He
Yeah.
said, here, this is what you need. And I said, George said, this is what we need.
But that is a big idea to come to fruition. So
Yeah.
it's really nice.
And one of our board members helped with that, Johnny Myers. I don't. Y'all had met him a little bit. He's involved, but he's retired. He's an interesting story. He left Gautier. He went to Nashville to be a songwriter. He got a job at the Ryman sweeping. And then 35 years later, he left the Ryman, running the Ryman and the Grand Ole Opry. He was the tech director over that.
Wow.
So, like, he was responsible for everything that goes on stage, the sound, and we used him when we built this out. And his budgets are many more zeros than what we're used to. I'm like, that ain't gonna happen.
That's not gonna work.
I like it, but
That's a great idea, but
this is not Gaylord Entertainment. This is city.
This is city.
And but he came in and helped, and he's going to help us with the lights. But we have a lot of connections to that level. Me and hers. Paige talking about Tricia the other day. Tricia, another great contact. She's my dot connector back to the network thing. She played keyboards for Faith Hill. She started the DMI school at Delta State, helped build that recording studio, and then she's on the Grammy board, and she's plugged us in. She's leading. She's our team leader now. Been working on her to come take my job. Like, you need to run this place. You're more qualified. You got time. Come do it. But she's retired. I ain't gave up on her yet.
Yeah.
But she has helped us up in the Delta create that space, and so I'm looking forward to that with that relationship to get involved in the educational. Sean will be up there tomorrow. So we're going to be working with them. The goal of what we was talking about there, like, we're in the educational system down here now, and we had an event the other night that Paige was at. Tommy Crawford, he's from Moss Point. He passed away. This guy was writing songs before it was cool. Like, the first person I ever co-wrote with probably 30 years ago was him. Well, he passed away, so we had an event, raise some funds to go towards instruments throughout the school system. And the plan, we met with the legislators last year. We didn't get funded, but seems to be asked twice, you get it the third time. That's what I'm going for.
That's right.
And we've had a lot of help from Kenny supporting that, City of Gautier, Pascal, all Jeremy England, and all of them has helped us a lot. Hank Zuber, so we got our groups helping us.
Yeah,
we're just trying to get the rest of the state going, and once we. Like in the Delta, like after tomorrow, now we got a footprint there.
Right.
So we're building our teams. And then we're trying to get this planned program that Sean runs, like the education he's doing y'all this summer.
He has a summer program here at the museum.
He'll be teaching here.
Through the
And
MSA.
we do it in the school systems. We've done it in the YMBC or YMBCA. We're trying to get funded to do that across the state, like the bottom 6 counties as a pilot. And then we're going to start next year in the Delta, and that's what the Meeting tomorrow is about with the Grammy Museum. So we want to go in, have it a presence, meet the community, and then get it in the schools. And it's based on the MMAT program with Mississippi Music Arts Therapy. So it's got a lot of psychological, sociological, suicide prevention.
Therapy
It's got an
programming.
agenda,
I love
behind it's more than the songwriting. It's more the therapeutic aspect.
I like
so
it.
why it's good for kids and help them get creative.
Yeah, for
Have
sure.
a creative career potentially.
Yeah. And, and that's the thing about creativity is, like, to me, that underlines everything. It underlines what you're doing. You got to think on the spot. You got to follow the flow.
Yeah.
You got to roll with it. You got to do that every day. You got to do that every day. So I think we all creatives. It just expresses in wherever you're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think just back to the phrase of rolling with it, that is an art, not a science, right?
Yeah.
That's an art. Rolling with it is an art, and if
Let
people
it go.
if people can't do it, they're not very productive.
Yeah.
So driving to work today, I was thinking about all the things we're going to talk about, and rolling with it. People are always asking us, I'm sure you guys as well, how do you do it, Sarah? Like, how do you get through all these things that you're doing? How did you, accomplish all that in that amount of time? And yes, it's about who you know and who you're working with, but no, it's not as easy as it looks ever. And I'm over here, like, driving to work going, Sarah, it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. Like, you got it. It's a temporary. At the end of the day, it'll be over. Like, I have to literally talk myself into getting through a day sometimes to do what I'm supposed to be doing for my job.
Well, and we're all wired differently, of course, but if you can't hold on tightly to rigidity
Yeah.
and everything being
Right.
just so as you planned it, or you will miss out on some of the best
New
things.
ideas
Yeah.
that pop in and
Right.
growth.
And people.
Yeah.
And, I think it goes back to the real sacred protection of presence. That if you are present, then you are open to what might be coming into
Yeah.
your sphere unexpectedly. And this happens all the time. I mean, you mentioned going to speak to legislators. I have yet to go up to visit legislators where I didn't happen to run into somebody that then led to a quick face-to-face,
Right.
that led to something getting done that had I stuck to email or phone calls, possibly never would have gotten done.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. Going with Kenny to Jackson and meeting with legislators, it's kind of my first time being up there. And, we go up sometimes and you're like, we're going to go meet with Hank. And then Hank's like, I'm about to put you in this meeting. Come in this closet where we have 15 people, but there's only 2 chairs, and tell them what you need.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, and also preparing him to go up there. I'm like, how many copies of these things? I don't know. Okay, well, let's start with 10, and then I will go down to a business center and get some more copies. Being flexible and rolling with it, and that's a big thing.
And also understanding that copies, while they can be good, it is again about how you leave them feeling
Right, exactly.
after you have interacted, because you can now thankfully send a lot of things as a follow-up electronically. And just getting to that point of thinking and realizing do I trust you? Do I trust you that you're going to do what you're saying a good idea?
Right.
And do I trust you to get it done? And do I trust you to use the state's money?
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to.
That's basically what it is.
You can't make them look bad.
Nope, sure not.
Yeah, and letting them take the credit.
Yes.
That's good
And
point,
then giving them
George.
some praise.
Yes. Yeah, but when we were talking about
And I wouldn't want that job.
Yeah. Yeah.
We was up there the last time. They were doing some controversial issues, and the whole country's looking at them, and like, you better have
the
some
right
thick
time.
skin to be those
Well,
guys.
That's right.
Yeah.
But somebody has to serve.
Yeah, they got to be strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I have been a part of teams who have gone out to recruit people to run, and it can be very challenging
Thick
because
skin.
people don't generally want to do it anymore because of what you have to sacrifice.
Yeah, for sure.
Personally and professionally. So, but when we were talking about music, especially with George being with the Songwriters Association, and like I said, I've lived here 30 years. I didn't grow up here. I grew up in the Midwest and went to college in the Midwest. I was amazed, and really am still amazed by the creativity and the artistic talent in this state. From the music to the art, and Ocean Springs is a perfect example.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go into any building that is selling or displaying art and not be completely overwhelmed by the talent.
You're like, do I need that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Or do I want that?
Do I want that?
Well,
That is the right
Yeah.
question.
Which one is it?
well, and it's, do I want to spend the
The
money?
money.
Yeah.
Probably don't need it, but boy, I sure
don't
want
want
it.
it.
Yeah, that's right.
So, our show is about Ocean Springs and you guys being leaders in Ocean Springs. So, tell us what you're working on this year with us, with
Sure.
our partnership.
Well, one of the big things that the Chamber's doing, and we're now going into our 3rd school year doing this, it's actually a triad initiative with the United Way for Jackson and George counties, as well as the Jackson County Economic Development Foundation and us, the Chamber. We run a program called P3, Passion, Purpose, Paycheck. And it embeds a career coach into each of the public high schools across Jackson County. So we hire 7 of them. And they are tasked with helping make sure that our high school graduates have a secure plan to be enrolled, employed, or enlisted at graduation.
Right.
So we have who they call Mr. Q. His name is Quinta Anderson, who is the career coach at Ocean Springs High. And it's been wonderful. He was honored by one of the students with a special award that a senior can give to a teacher for the impact. Because Mr. Q went to his lacrosse game, and really he delves into the kids' lives to help them remove the barriers for these plans. So that has been one of the greatest things that we have done and continue to do. And now with Mike Lindsay, the new superintendent, who I've known since he was a principal at Gulfport High.
He's my principal.
Yeah,
Really?
Oh,
Yes.
right. Oh,
Yeah, I
I
saw him
forgot
yesterday.
that.
Yep, yep.
Yes. So we're super excited,
Excited.
about him being here. That was a fantastic hire. Very exciting. So our role in the education realm of the community is tied into workforce development,
Right.
of course, and that directly supports commerce and promotes growth. So that's a big thing. And then we're also in the planning stages for our next Anchor Awards event that will be in August. And that is where we celebrate our small businesses and nonprofits. And U.S. Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith is our keynote speaker
Oh, fun.
that day. So keep your eyes out for the notification and tickets for that.
We have a former mayor's youth council who works on her staff.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So Katie Cooper, shout out.
Yes. Well,
Connect the
and
dots.
that youth council has been around for quite some
Yeah.
time in Ocean Springs,
Right.
and I know you inherited it and have really done a great job with it. So thank you, because I think that is a big deal in a city. That the other thing we do is we run the Leadership Jackson County
Right.
program, and today actually we're having a summer learning summit with a Brene Brown facilitator.
Oh, what?
Yes.
Nice.
And that Brene Brown's book, Dare to Lead, is what we've been using in Leadership Jackson County this year. And anyone
Very
who's
cool.
familiar with her knows how great her teachings are on having courage and
Yeah.
being willing to be vulnerable, and what that can lead to in leadership. So yeah, we're
love that.
excited about growing leaders.
Yeah, for
And,
sure.
Yeah, because we need them.
That's amazing. Thank you for all you're doing.
Well, thank you for recognizing.
I mean, I'm just over here like, I wish I had that growing up, you know?
Well, most
you know your
people say
potential,
that.
Yeah.
but it would have
Yes.
been so nice to have a little bit more support in that area, especially
Yes.
when your parents are like busy with their careers and they don't know how to
Or
guide
not,
you.
they
into
just
that.
don't know. Like
Yeah.
my
Well, we don't
mom,
listen to them anyway.
Yeah,
You know,
they probably told us
in
all
high
that.
school, like my mother, I mean, I think she went to a couple years of junior college, but she didn't know what she didn't know to direct me. So like, I was just out there on my own.
But heck,
you know,
they
You
did
did pretty
I don't think
good,
They
huh?
had these kinds of programs back then. I mean,
Well, yeah. Certainly-
how old is P3?
P3, this is going into its third year,
Okay.
and the career coaching. So we modeled our program after one that the Create Foundation in Northeast Mississippi has been doing this will be their 5th or 6th year. And now the legislature, of course, has watched both our programs, and now they have started funding career coaches across the state,
Nice.
which is great.
Yeah.
I think I happened to be at my second son's college orientation yesterday, and I was really impressed by a new initiative they're launching this fall called Student Success Teams. And it's that every student has this variety, a career coach, an academic advisor, a well-being coach, just a financial aid person,
Yeah.
a whole team centered around this student's success. And I think I sent it to several superintendents and assistant superintendents here in the county, because I think that could work
Yeah.
here. And somebody said, yeah, we have this, it's called a TST team, but it's only for the SPED students, for the special ed students.
Yeah.
Well, I'm here to tell you they're all SPED now, in the sense that they all have unique special needs
Yeah.
Right.
that are preventing them from being enrolled, enlisted, employed in this approach. So just thinking out of the box, and you talk about creativity when it comes to art and music, but creativity
Everything.
and how you approach anything makes the difference on whether we're really going to accomplish something worth accomplishing.
It makes me feel really proud when we bring guests on that say the things I want to say. But
Nice.
I love it. Well, guys, thank you for being here today and sharing with us. We will have a wrap-up party of season 1. We want you to come and
Yes.
enjoy and meet our other guests, because they've all just been incredible, just like you guys. So thank you for doing all that you do. And that's it. That's a wrap.
Until next time.
I'm Sarah,
And I'm Raven.
and this is
City Culture.